Hello, and God bless you. That's Deacon Pat. He gave us a blessing before the show. He prayed for me downstairs, and I'm so excited about having our guest today. We are doing this interview for Catholic Mom, and I'm a contributor for Catholic Mom for many years, and it's such a great ministry. You want to check it out. It's CatholicMom.com, and there's many writers, all different flavors, and there's something for everybody. There's all kinds of things you want to look at. There's women to connect with. There's Momcast, which Daniel Bean and Allison and Lisa do, and there's just so much wealth of knowledge for a Catholic woman. Today, we're going to talk to a lady that is the director of a ministry called Ablaze, and it's out of Baltimore. And so we want to introduce her first right now. And so, Kristen Fisher, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ellen. It's my pleasure to be here.
I know, what an interesting kind of work. I just think it's such a great thing. Ablaze is something I've never heard of before. So you want to tell them what Ablaze is?
Yeah, so we are Ablaze Family Ministries. We're only about 2 years old, and we provide resources and opportunities to help entire families to really encounter the Lord's love in a very personal way and to respond to it and share it with others and to really grow the church in that way. So it's kind of unique in its approach, and we're really excited about all that the Lord is calling us to do.
So before we begin our interview, because I want to hear all about it, I want to say this is Kristen Fisher again, and she's the director. Tell us a little bit more about you and how you got started and what you actually do.
Sure. So I was raised Catholic. I had a very powerful prayer experience when I was in middle school, when everything that I had learned about Jesus from earlier in my childhood really came to life for me. And I could feel his presence with me and his love and his Holy Spirit. And it really lit my heart on fire with his love. And I couldn't get enough. So that led me to attend Franciscan University of Steubenville, where I just continued pursuing him in love. And I got a degree in theology and anthropology. I knew I wanted to serve him in some sort of missionary way. And finally, my junior year, he made it pretty clear to me that he was calling me to youth ministry, which was great, because that's a big part of what had changed my own life. So I moved back home to Baltimore, and I served as a youth minister in a parish here in the Archdiocese of Baltimore for 16 years, mostly working with middle schoolers, also high schoolers and their families. And in that time, I just saw a tremendous need to evangelize families and to help families to really be places where God's love is lived out, and it's discussed, and it's welcomed. And so, the Lord was putting that on my heart in this parish ministry where I didn't know quite how to offer that, as I still had to, do all the work of middle school ministry and confirmation prep, and I ran the baptism prep, and my husband and I were involved in marriage prep. So 2 years ago, I was offered a position here at Ablaze Family Ministries to come be the director here. And it was sort of, it was everything from my past sort of pointed to this position, that it was an eye toward youth ministry and how important it is to really raise up young people who know and love the Lord, but really empowering their parents to accompany them as they grow in faith, giving parents different opportunities, different tools, different resources to engage in conversation, but also to lead their kids ever closer to Jesus Christ in and through his Catholic Church. So that's me. I'm married to Greg. We've been married about 16 years. We have 4 kids on earth and 3 in heaven. I have a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And we're just living life.
That's so nice. St. Catherine Siena said, I believe it's her that said, our job is to bring people to Jesus and Jesus to people. And Pat and I always talk a lot about the little church. We felt like we were in a Christian community. We felt like the church is an avenue the parents use, but we are the main formation of our children, to have the children in the way they should go, and when they get old, they'll return. So I just love when people are engaged in their faith, and I love Steubenville. We know that will be a blessing to many people, the formation you had. And so in the year of Ablaze, back to our main conversation, what do you think about some of the points you could tell these young mothers and older mothers about what it has to offer for them as parents? Because I know it gives a lot of free information even to the parishes. I did read some of that material.
Yeah, we like to provide resources that can spark conversations that lead to transformed lives. You know, it can be hard, especially as your kids get older, but even if they're younger, to talk about the Lord in a way that really invites your kid into it and doesn't just sort of inform them. We have to be careful that we're not just teaching our kids, that we're inviting them into this relationship, right? Also teaching, of course. So we provide a lot of testimony-based resources that share a real story from a real person who's had a real encounter with a real God. And then that testimony then points to some objective truth that we believe is Catholic. So it helps parents to engage in conversation with their kids in a way that both the parent and the child can kind of take ownership of what they're hearing and what they're seeing at the same time, and then turn toward each other and say, gosh, what did you think about that? What do you think God is calling us to now that we know this? So we want to help people tell the story of what God has done for them, to point back to the objective reality of who God is, right? He's not just good for some people. He is good, period. And the love he has that we see active in the lives of the saints and the lives of so many people who have come before us, that love is for all of us. And so it's a parent's job to help their kids to encounter that love, to respond to that love, and to figure out where that love, that person who is love, is calling them.
Don't you think? I mean, it says in Scripture that we are saved by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And when someone gives a testimony, my ears perk up because like we said, everyone has their own personal testimony, and it sticks with you. You know, more than if they preaching and teaching. My husband is a deacon, so he teaches and preaches. But I tell stories. I'm a storyteller as well to my children from the time they were little, and they still will remember things because you use it as a teaching point as a mom. There's multiple opportunities, moms, all throughout the day, and I had 8 children, to teach them about Christ through everyday living. Don't you think? I would love to know who wrote the stories, but they just give their story, but they give their testimony. It's not in the material that they give their testimony, they stand and give it, or is it in the material or the videos? Or
so we provide video testimonies mostly, and then the materials we provide around that are sort of journal questions to help the viewers identify, what did the Lord do for that person, and what do I think the Lord is saying to me through that person's, because you're right, it is testimony that invites others into a deeper relationship or an initial relationship with the Lord. And it's really interesting, Ellen, the more we learn about neuroscience, the more we learn about psychology, I think the more we see how brilliant our Lord has always been, right? That he knows us better than we know ourselves. So we are just now discovering things that, of course, he's known since he created us at the beginning of time. But our brains are wired for story. So we hunger for story. We think in story. It's why we love movies and books. And, you know, we are drawn in through stories. And I love that, you know, there's this great quote from Pope Paul VI. Modern man listens more willingly to witnesses than he does to teachers. And if he listens to teachers, it's because they are witnesses. Witnesses share a story of something they've experienced firsthand. It's not just information that they have, right? So the witness and teaching, they go hand in hand.
Ooh,
and parents are in the prime spot to do both.
Oh, I think so. And you know, as parents, we almost have we have ears open to hear our child if they're hurting or if they're joyful, and we can, when we relate to, as a mom, and we say, you know, when I was a kid, or one time that happened to me, it's like they feel like they don't feel so weird. You know, like weird's a kind of word, but they don't feel, they go, well, mom had that happen to her too. There's so many ways to get affirm our children by just opening our ears and then opening our heart to them. So many parents don't like to say they failed. You know, Pat and I, we're like, I'm 60, 70, 74. We like to say, you know, we like to say our good, our bad, our ugly at the appropriate time, because the fact is they begin to grow and see. Some things you do, like say you don't like, I don't know, your feet. I have ugly feet. So then the kids, well, mom has ugly feet too. I don't know, there's something in telling and affirming. So I was going to say, is we talked before the show, and I was so interested in, I thought it was just only middle school, but we were talking about targeting a middle school. Now everybody knows that middle school is tough. You know, it's like some people want to skip middle school. They want to go like, we want to be in, you know, elementary, and then let's go right to high school because we're already grown up. And the truth is, the stages and ages of life is what we need to go through to become the person we are. It's the journey itself that makes us different and helps us to know God better. Middle school is a great opportunity to know God. What do you think?
It is, and they really, again, with what's going on neurologically in their brains, middle schoolers are hardwired for encounter. They are hungry to come to know in a personal way the living God who made them on purpose with a purpose, so it brings to life everything they learned as a younger child in a deeper and more dynamic way. And so yeah, we love middle schoolers. We have something for every member of the family, older and younger, and extended family too. It doesn't just have to be for families who are actively raising their children. We have a couple members on our board whose children are all grown and moved out, but they intentionally push me to make sure that we make content that can be used for extended family, for adult children, for grandchildren, content that's just simple enough that even someone who feels like, well, I've never really had a relationship with the Lord, but I want to start, they can start there. But also people who are further along in their faith and in their relationship with Him, there's something for them too.
Obviously, I like the word encounter and invite because those are two positives for children. But the whole time you were talking in the very beginning, I was thinking, this is a tool for the children. The parents teach the children, but the children are also teach the parents. Like you said, some parents maybe never had a personal relationship, but thank God for our popes that have been saying that this is an important thing to do is to get to know Jesus for yourself. So I was a Catholic school girl, Kristen, and so we had this like drilled in our head, and I always use it when I speak. You have to why did God make me? He made me to know Him, to love Him, and to serve Him, and to be happy with Him in heaven. So as they get to teach their children, they're actually getting to know Christ. And the more, don't you think, Kristen, when you meet someone that knows the Lord, you go like, I want to know God like them. But it's not a jealousy thing. It's not like competition. It's like I want to know Christ for myself. It's a hunger in our soul. And so it's kind of a great opportunity. Do they do it only with their family? Is it like a family oriented, or is it in the parish? Clarify that for us in case parents want to get involved.
Sure. So what's nice is we actually have something for everyone. So we work with parishes, we work with dioceses to provide content for families. We do recommend that families somehow operate in some sort of family small group. There's more detailed information on our website about that, but a family small group is just literally a small group of families, 4 or 5 families. They can gather in person or virtually once a month is what we recommend. You can journey through a particular series together, so that all the families are sort of learning and growing together. And then we provide sort of themed suggestions of what you can do when you get together that are related to that series. But even just getting together and going for a hike, even just getting together and praying the rosary and having a potluck, there doesn't have to be a curriculum that you're journeying through together. Make that time valuable, building fellowship, having community with other families who are striving to love Christ more and to welcome Him more deeply into their lives. That's good in and of itself. And praying together, that models for our kids, maybe more than anything, that we actually believe in the God who we trust. Right? We trust in His goodness, in His power, in His love, in His presence. And so we cry out to Him and we give all of our needs and our cares and our concerns to Him. We thank Him and acknowledge that every good thing is from His hands. Our kids learn a lot from that. So if you're just a family whose parish maybe is not in a position right now to kind of pursue this further, you can get started just as a family. If you're a parish, you can purchase a parish series to give to your families and sort of guide them through that. We have more series coming. We were severely delayed like the rest of the world because of COVID. We have a lot of filming happening now.
How did that change things? How did COVID change things for y'all? I know it slowed it down, but I just say you just get more creative way to continue on.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it forced us to be really creative, and it forced us to see, what do families really need when everything is stripped away? What do families really need? We need community. We need other people. That's what my own children were really hungry for, was other people. And we need authentic prayer. We need these ways to encounter the Lord. And we need to think outside the wall box of prayer, because here in Maryland, masses were shut down. I think it was 15 weeks total, where masses were not happening in person. And there's been talk that with the flu season coming, that might be the case again, which would be dreadful. But we have to learn how Jesus is still with us, right? The Eucharist is the source and summit. It is the primary way we need the Eucharist. But when the Eucharist is not available to us, how can we still be with Jesus? Because He has not abandoned us. So hard, but it's really stretched us, and it's actually helped us even offer the suggestions that we now offer for the family small groups. That now they can meet virtually, they can meet in person, but we've even just kind of expanded what we do as a small group. That it's about encountering the Lord and encountering one another, growing in love with Him and with each other. And that's going to look a little bit different for every family small group, depending on your interests and the age groups in your group, in your own family.
I just feel like I don't look at my show notes. I write them and I don't look at it. I looked at this one. I do want to ask: how is this different from any other formation program? Because there is a lot of programs, but this one sounds like one that it's not like you're going to read it; you're going to live it. That's what I would say.
Yeah. No, I mean, so it's not a book. It's a video series that comes with a reflection journal, and the reflection journal is intentionally not strictly educational. We don't want to keep these testimonies and these teachings as sort of a case study at arm's reach. It's meant to be integrated into your life and into the way you live the rest of your life. And so we have some mental health experts on our team. We have some educators. We have a woman with her PhD in adolescent development and psychology. So we're coming at this with theology, but also a good understanding of how the human operates. And how the human needs to operate to be well formed and well rounded and well fed. So we intentionally try to help people have an encounter with the Lord. So it's encounter first and learn later. So our name is Ablaze, and Jesus said, I've come to set the world on fire, and how I wish we're already ablaze. And you think about a fire. You can put as many logs on top of each other as you want, but until those logs come into contact until they have an encounter with the source of the heat and the light, the spark, nothing happens. And we do see a lot of this in the church today. We have given an awful lot of information to children and youth. It's logs put on a fire that has not yet been ignited. And so we are trying to ignite a fire in the hearts of young people and old people, all people. And then from there, the catechesis, well done, can be built on slowly to gradually to intentionally, with love, with relationship, in an incarnational way, build that fire so that we have hearts that are ablaze.
Oh, I like that. It only takes a spark to set a fire glowing. It's an old song, but it so means that if you're on fire for the Lord and you go to the grocery store, they're going to remember that's that happy lady that smiles at me, or that's the lady that goes, because we're to be Christ wherever we go. In our home and wherever we go. So I go a lot of places, and sometimes I go, my ministry is a walk and talk ministry, because you're an evangelist for Christ. If you're the director of Ablaze, or if you're out there changing the diapers and dishes. So I just love the name. That's why they called it that. And so can you tell us how they can connect with you? We're not going to end the show, but I just want to make sure they jot this down. We'll tell it more than once, and how they can connect with Ablaze.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely go to our website, www.ablazefamily.org. There's lots of different ways you can reach out to us. You can sign up for emails, that sort of thing. But if you wanted to reach me directly, that's fine too. I'm at kristen.fisher@ablazefamily.org. That's my email address. So you can contact me directly. And you can follow us on social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you. And I have loved getting to meet you and learn a bit about that. I actually looked on your website a lot of the things, and my favorite, and Kristen said that she'll make an opportunity on this particular interview to let y'all see it, was the little, kind of like a commercial. Could you tell me what kind of some of the high points of that? Because I haven't put it on, but I want them to know.
Is this the love commercial, the 2-minute one about
it was so
giving
good.
your love? Yeah, so we wanted to help people see, that love compels us to do crazy things. Love is why we get up in the middle of the night to change diapers, and love is why, we make tremendous sacrifices, because it's worth it, right? It's hard, but it's worth it. And so, the Lord loves us, and His love is the greatest love we could ever experience. And so, when we love our families, we have an opportunity to give them our own love, but also to give them this love of the Lord that will be with them always, that is bigger and deeper and stronger than our own love. It's powerful. It's able to save. It's able to animate. It changes everything. And so we really want to encourage families, absolutely love your own kids with your own hearts and with your own love, but also introduce them to the love of the Lord. Be intentional in the way that you share the love that you've experienced, from the Lord with your kids, but also help them to have that experience and that encounter for themselves.
Oh, I so like that. People to people ministry is my favorite, and that's what was saddened to me on the when we had our little staycation. I call it a staycation because I had to stay in the house, and I stay in the house a lot. I'm a writer, but I like to go out and get some air and go out and see some people, and different things. So I like people to people ministry. You grow, even if you're shy and you don't want to go to, like I say, a Bible study, you get up and go and you meet and you change. You change. So, Kristen, tell us the things in this ministry that have been very beneficial and the things that have been kind of like your warts. Like, wow, that was should have done.
The warts, yeah. So I think the most wonderful thing, again, we're only 2 years old, so our first year for sure was a lot of trial and error, trying to figure out what the Lord was asking of us. Our founder is a man who, he's married. They have 5 adult children, and some of his children have walked pretty far away from the church, and he just was heartbroken about that, and he didn't want that to happen to any other family if it was preventable. And as much as he and his wife loved the Lord and tried to raise their kids in the faith, they didn't always know the best ways. So they had hearts that desired it, but they didn't necessarily have the tools to make it happen. And so that was kind of the impetus for us starting, but we didn't know exactly what the best ways were either, and what the Lord was asking of us. So I'll start with warts. Our family small group, the first one met in my house. There's 8 families in our small group, which is double the size what it should be. But we wanted to get a lot of eyes on it. We wanted to see, what people thought. And so we used to kind of journey through the content while we were together. We would bring a potluck, we would pray together, we would have some fun, and then we would kind of do an icebreaker game. And then everyone from the 1-year-olds to the 50-year-olds, we would sit and watch a 10-minute video testimony together, and then kind of have a brief small groupish discussion together. And it was good and it was fine, but after about 6 or 7 times meeting like that, I realized I was actually hindering our community from growing in friendship with each other and from praying deeply together, because we were pausing to watch content together, and I was like, gosh, we can all just watch the content at home and discuss it at home, and then either come and, if someone shared in their testimony that forgiveness and mercy were a huge part of the way that they've experienced the Lord's love, at home we could discuss that, and then when we're all together, we could pray a Divine Mercy Chaplet together. So it's related, and we're genuinely praying and offering our own petitions along with that memorized prayer. But that we're also spending time just being human together. That friendship allows for deeper growth in relationship with the Lord as well, because we learn to trust one another and trust our cares to one another. So that's probably our biggest wart, was that, our first year was spent trial and error, figuring things out, but the biggest blessing, I think, has been seeing that families really thrive when they have community and they're all headed to the Lord together. My kids need other adults to speak the same truth I'm speaking, but from these other adults, authentic voices and authentic experience, right? The same truth, but in a different voice from a different angle. My kids need that, and I need that, and my friends' kids need to hear me talk about my faith. And so it's just really affirmed for me the need for Catholic family small groups, that are inclusive. That's another thing that we've learned is, I see it in my own parish, and from people I've spoken to, it's not unique to my own parish. Catholic families tend to be insular with other Catholic families, and it's safe and it's comfortable, and it's definitely a great environment for my kids. But the Lord is calling us to shine our light, not into other light, but into darkness, and into people who maybe don't yet have a relationship with the Lord, or maybe have baggage about what they think the church is. Not people who are angry and who are going to, undo the work we're trying to do with our own children, but people who are maybe curious and open, but don't yet have a great foundation laid, no fault of their own. We are called to share our story with them. We are called to invite them into the story of what God is doing in our own lives here and now. So that's the greatest thing I think that we've discovered, just by, again, a lot of trial and error, is that we really are made for community, and that community is good in and of itself, that it doesn't have to be content driven, and that we need to shine our light.
Ooh, I like all that. And, I just keep thinking about the Blessed Mother. We started the show off praying a Hail Mary before we came on air. And the Blessed Mother, that's what she did day in, day out. She was doing the things we are doing. And is there any series, or how do you bring the Blessed Mother into this? Because one of my main things I'm thinking about is our children face a lot of things. And a lot of people even ask me as an adult, do y'all pray to the Blessed Mother? Well, we don't pray to the Blessed Mother, but Blessed Mother prays with us. We pray to her through. She intercedes with us, and she stands before the throne of God, and she kneels and she says to her son Jesus, "Listen, your mother's asking a request." It's a very important thing to clarify in children's minds things they're going to hear at school. So does any of that come up for y'all, or do you have any series on the Blessed Mother, or things in the faith that maybe people that aren't a Catholic would think, well, gee, the Catholics, they do this. We live in the South most of our marriage, so I'm just saying, it was like we were like the minority. It was fine, but
Yeah.
So there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so in our adventure series, which is the series that's available right now, we every segment starts with a testimony, and then there's a saint connection, a sacrament connection, and a scripture connection, so that you can see that what that person experienced in their own testimony is actually rooted in the life, the teachings, and the traditions of the church. And so in one of them, where the testimony giver shares about a particular, like they were literally in darkness, and they couldn't see in the dark. The saint connected with that is the Blessed Mother, and we have a teaching / testimony from one of my favorite Dominican sisters who teaches here at Mount DeSales Academy in Baltimore, Sister Marie Genevieve. But she just shares from her own experience about a time when she was in prayer, and the Blessed Mother really came to her aid. And she talks about how the early church fathers describe Mary as the moon, that Jesus is the sun and he shines the light, but Mary is the moon and she reflects the light to us when we're in dark times and we can really see the sun. And it's just such a beautiful image for Mary. And so she shows up in every single one of our series, but that's the one that I'm most excited about just because it's the newest one. We also have another Dominican sister, Sister Maristella, who talks about the Blessed Mother and the Rosary. In a series that's coming soon about prayer. But yeah, the Blessed Mother plays a big role in all of our series because I think she wants to play a big role in our life. So you'll see her in every series we make.
I think that's great. We could talk about this all day. I want to make sure you get to say everything you wanted to say, Kristen, about your ministry, so that and make sure you mention at the end where they can contact you, even though you mentioned it once already, just to make sure. Jot it down this time. So she's going to repeat it again, but let's finish up on what kind of the last few things that you'd like to say. If you're going to give them 3 points to take home, what would you say to our audience? Catholic moms, listen up.
I would say, parents, you are not just the primary educator of your kid, you are the primary evangelizer of your kid. You are the most influential factor, and both Christian and secular research points to that. So with that in mind, don't be afraid to switch up your model as your kids get older. When kids are younger, they're really happy with sort of a following the leader kind of model. As they get older and they push back a little bit, don't be afraid to switch to something that looks a little bit more like an accompaniment model. I kind of envision it as I'm still driving the car, right? But instead of my kid being in the back seat, blissfully unaware of where we're going, my child is now old enough to sit in the front seat next to me. They are not driving. They are not in control, but they're more aware of the process. They know where we're going. They can help me read the signs. They can control the radio. They're more involved in the process. Ownership because ultimately I'm apprenticing them to learn how to drive safely and responsibly themselves today. So know that you are the primary force for good in your kid's life. Don't be afraid to switch up the model, and don't be afraid to reach out for tools and resources that help get the conversation going. Again, your kids need you to be the primary, but not the exclusive voice of faith in their lives. So this is where youth ministers and coaches and priests and directors of religious education and teachers come in. This is where your family small group comes in. This is where the testimonies that we've filmed come in. All these other people who can put skin on the same truth that you are trying to share with your kids because they need that. And we want to help you with that at Ablaze Family Ministries.
I love it. And so, y'all, this is Kristen Fisher. She's going to say how to get a hold of you, and she wants y'all to look into this program. I pushed almost every button. I like to push on the go again. Look at this one. That's how I learned this song. A mother is given a heart to lay down her life for children. But the most important thing we do for them is to pray and to teach about our friend Jesus and about our faith, the sacraments. We had the nuns. Now the nuns are probably praying hard because more is coming about the saints. And I really do appreciate your sharing so well, Kristen. I didn't hardly ask any questions because you gave so much wealth of knowledge. So Catholic moms, jot this down, and you can go to her website, and you can also write her or email her. And here she is, Kristen Fisher. Thank you.
Yes, please visit us at www.ablazefamily.org. You can find us on social media, Instagram and Facebook, Ablaze Family Maryland. If you'd like to email me directly, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me via email at kristen.fisher@ablazefamily.org.
Wow, there's so much. There's so much out there, moms. Each person is different, and each ministry is different, and what will work for one family or one child may not work for another. So I say, look into it, see what you can do, and thank you so much, Kristen, for being our guest today. My guest on Catholic Mom, Kristen Fisher from Ablaze Ministry. We applaud you, and we thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for bearing with me because they know what Catholic Mom. I'm the technically challenged Catholic Mom writer. So I will send you this copy. So thank you again, and this is Ellen Mongan from Catholic Mom. Please read the article, send it to a friend, and this will be on SoundCloud. So please do that, and have a great day. We thank you for forming these children, because what I love most is that as Catholics, we love the Lord and we love our families. So that's our main thing. Thank you so kindly again, and be ablaze with the Spirit of God, and know the Lord every day. Bring him into the children's lives.